Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. And of course, I am your host, DBoss. And I just was hoping that everybody's been doing their 15 minutes or more of laughing, because it really helps you for your day. It helps start your day. It helps you put out what you feel. And also, it makes you feel youthful. It also tones your abs. It also lowers your blood pressure. It makes you feel all over good if you're laughing. Now, maybe if you're not laughing real hard, if your body starts to, maybe your stomach starts to get in a knot or something, but it's all good. And then there's so many health benefits to people that practice laughing, that practice that in their daily regimen. I'm getting a lot of feedback. So if you don't have anybody that you could laugh with, you could phone somebody. You can also watch something funny if you know that something's funny is going to laugh. All these streaming opportunities you could do. And if it absolutely comes down, okay, you know what, I don't have anybody to laugh with, they also do have laughing classes that you can go to. But I hope everybody doesn't have to take that extreme. So I have a special guest that's going to be talking to us after the one of the sponsors. They're gonna come, Vital Steps to Vital Health, and we'll be right back, and we're going to find out all about her book that she wrote. So we'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. I'm Joanne James. Today we're going to talk about working out when you have a cold. I get that question quite frequently. Is it a good idea to work out when I have the cold? Well, if you have sniffles, maybe a runny nose, maybe not so bad. You don't want to work out intensely. However, if you have chills and a fever, stay home, take care of your body. Now, when you're exercising, if you have a cold, make sure that you don't work out too intensely. Stay from a basic to moderate intensity workout. And again, if you do have a flu or if you have the chills, don't work out at home. And if you're going to work out, try not to go into a gym or a club to do this. All you're going to do is pass your germs around. So remember, if you have a cold, take your time, let your body heal, then go back to working out at your full intensity when you're ready. I'm Joanne James. This has been your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. We'll see you later.
Well, thank you, Joanne James, for that health tip. That's very important, because if you're sick, a lot of people always wonder, should I work out, go sweat it out? Well, obviously you heard what she said to do. Well, anyways, we got a real special guest coming up here, and she's an author. I think she's authored a couple of books, or a few books. We're going to find out from her about her journey. But her most recent book is Surviving the Closet Memoir. So let's get right into it with Joe Deluzio.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for coming on and telling us, and we're going to be telling us about the novel. But here at Real Life Matters, we like people to tell us what their cultural background and where they came from.
My cultural background. Well, I was born in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Okay.
In the north.
All right.
Both my parents are in heaven. My mom's family, several generation Canadian. My father's family was from Italy, Abruzzi near Chieti.
Right.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, I am actually the whitest color humanly possible without actually being dead.
Well, so you know what? That's all right. Everybody comes in different shades, different tones.
That's right. Yes.
So what made you, Joe, want to become a author?
Well, I'm a professor at the University of Toronto, so I have a lot of academic publications. I never really thought about becoming an author. The book Surviving the Closet actually forced itself to be written. I was literally sitting on the subway one day on my way to work, and the thought that I was a closet survivor just popped into my head. And I took out my computer right on the subway, and I was frantically keying. And by the time I stopped keying, I had written about 10 pages and I'd missed my subway stop.
That's not good.
So I had to sort of close up my computer and get my sorry self to work. And I didn't actually look at what I had written for, a week at least. When I looked at it, I wept. I just cried, and I thought, I have to write this book. So it wasn't me deciding, I think I'll write a book. The book decided, the book, the book made the decision for me. So
Okay. So what is the main topic in the book that you're doing without giving the whole book away? You called it the memoir.
well, it's actually not called the memoir. It's called
Survival.
Surviving the Closet, Learning to Live After Coming Out Later in Life. And the book
Okay.
is, it wasn't intended to be a memoir, but I guess I'm splattered all over it. It really talks about my journey coming out much later in life, as a queer woman, and the systems in society that potentially keep people closeted.
Okay.
And I really want to send a message of hope for people that are still closeted, that if I can do it, they can do it too.
Oh, okay. So how long did it take you to write the whole, to do this, to do the to do, writing out the surviving the closet? How long did it take you to do that?
Less than a year, I would say.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty quick.
yeah, yeah. I would say less than a year.
Okay. And what about like do you have any pictures in there, or is it just strictly just writing and
It's just writing. I also, yeah, it's not a picture book. I also sent surveys to a number of women I knew that came out much later in life, and I talk about what they talked about, why they stayed in the closet so long. And actually, a couple of the women will never come out of the closet, and that their information is shared as well.
okay.
Yeah.
So how many people did you in the book did you like highlight their experience and of not
I actually
coming
don't
out?
remember. That's a good question. I mean, I only sent out a few surveys, and then all of a sudden it sort of snowballed. I got surveys back from women I had never met before. I was in the 20s of people. Well, they were
Wow.
people, they were women. Yeah, in the 20s of people. So it was very exciting. Not everyone I sent it out to filled out the questionnaire, but then they sent it to other people. So I think I got a nice sample of women's perspectives about why they stayed in the closet so long and their journeys out of the closet. Probably the most fascinating story was a woman who finally came out when she was 50. And then her husband told her he was also gay. So
Oh,
there you have it.
so they both so they
So
were
they,
both in.
yeah, it must have been a pretty big closet.
So for you, for you telling your story, like how long did it take you, you to say, okay, I'm just gonna tell people. That's it.
Well, I mean, it never ends, I suppose, because you're always meeting new people, and then you have that sort of tango dance. Do I say something? Do I not say something? I mean, a straight person doesn't say, "Hi, I'm het," but when you're gay, if you don't say anything, and then you meet people several times, when they find out, you almost feel like you've been lying to them or whatever. But that wasn't the question. The question was, how long did it
No,
take?
it's okay.
Well, I didn't understand my sexuality until I was in my 30s, and by then I was married with 4 children, and
Okay.
I couldn't walk out on 4 children. I'm not going to judge anybody who makes that decision, but I couldn't do it.
Okay.
And so it took me a really long time to come out. I mean, first I had to come out to myself and acknowledge, that I was gay, and then it was a whole journey of telling my husband. I call him my only husband. I don't call him my ex-husband because in the book I refer to him as my only husband. The word ex sounds like he's excommunicated from my life, or he's an
Okay.
ex-friend, and that's not true. We're still really close. He was at my wedding to my wife. We were at his wedding to his wife. So, and
Okay.
then the struggle of he didn't want me telling our kids, but I couldn't. I didn't want them to hear it from anybody else. So there was a very long time period where my immediate family knew, but I was closeted, and my only husband begged me not to tell anybody. So I mean, I was basically living a double life. I was seeing women he knew, but you don't really feel very good about yourself. You feel you're lying to everybody, right? So
And how did your children take it? Your siblings and
my
stuff.
siblings were amazing. They were a little bit angry at me for not telling them sooner.
Okay.
They thought that I didn't believe in them, that they would have still loved me, but it wasn't that I didn't believe in them. I didn't believe in myself. My children were amazing, my adult children, and continue to be amazing. I have the 4 from a conventional marriage, and I have twins from marriage to my beautiful wife. So I've survived 6 teenagers. Not too long.
Oh,
Yeah, not too long ago, somebody asked me, what do you think is my most amazing accomplishment? And I said, surviving 6 teenagers. So
I
yeah,
know.
it's been a journey. People find out at different times. There was a short period there when my husband decided he was fine with the information, and he started telling people, and that's not okay. It's never okay for someone to out another person, no matter their intentions. Put me in a number of awkward situations when people were coming up to me saying they knew I was gay, and I wasn't really prepared to be confronted like that. But I mean,
Oh,
he didn't do it on purpose. He had just in his head finally reconciled the information. So, but it's never okay to out another person. It's really their story, and people come out when they feel safe, if they are ever safe, and when they can. So,
okay. All right. So show us a copy of the book there.
show you a copy of the book.
Yes. Here it is.
Can you read it?
Wait, hold on. Just hold it, and then I'll
Can't see the surviving part.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, it's blurred in here.
Blurred in.
Surviving the closet, but you can see it.
Yeah, surviving the
It's
closet.
colorful. It's nice.
It
also
is. That wouldn't have been my choice for cover, actually, but the I guess the marketing team at the publishing company had a bunch of covers, and they did a test group, and everybody, like over 80% of the people loved that. And now I like it. I mean, now I like it. It's grown on me. I just thought, what the heck is that supposed
Well,
to
what color did you want it to be? Did you want it to be something else, or?
I thought maybe rainbow colored, but they thought that
Oh,
was cliched, or I thought maybe a picture of 2 women sitting on a park bench or something, but they tried that and it looked like it was an advert for like a geriatric home or something.
that's not good.
Although I have received an email from a woman who's 80 who read my book, and I've inspired her to come out of the closet. So at 80, she's coming out of the closet, which is pretty amazing. If I can make anybody, inspire anyone to live their authentic life, especially women who are oppressed in so many different ways, then I think the book was worth the tears shed while writing it. So
Okay, all right. So, and have you written any other books, or you're coming? You said because
I
early
have
on.
another book that is complete. It's called Just Gone: Stories of Persecution for Love and Life, where I interviewed people who came. I now live in Toronto, Canada. People who came to Toronto as refugees because they feared for their life because of their 2S LGBTQ plus status. And the stories are shocking. They're quite horrific stories of rape, torture, being beaten, electric shock, attempted murders, even sometimes by police in those countries. So there's a number of countries where being gay is punishable by death. There are a number of countries that, even though there's supposed to be rights, for example, Mexico, it's legal for women or men to marry each other, but the country itself, culturally, socially, doesn't. Many places don't accept it, and people are harming them, torturing them. Brazil's another example. So, interestingly enough, women I have met that happen to be Black, especially you mentioned the Caribbean, it can be really difficult for them to come out because what they've told me is that their culture is very gender specific, and it is not accepting, generally speaking, of gay people, particularly gay men. Men are supposed to be macho, and there's sort of prescribed roles. So they found it particularly difficult because, Black people continue to be marginalized and oppressed in many ways. And so they were afraid of losing their connection with their Black community. And women who are Jewish have said the same thing, that
Yeah.
the Jewish community is what's so important to them, the sense of family and synagogue, and they couldn't risk.
I just totally didn't even think about the Jewish community.
Yeah, and then I
But
guess there's a lot of right-wing Christian communities that are the same, but I think sort of ethnic cultural groups have their own perspective on people who are gay or transgender, and it can make it really difficult. So the intersectionality of people's ethnicity with their sexuality, and maybe they have a disability, or so there's a lot of things to think about. When you think about women in a lot of countries in the world that have no status, they can't even go, they can't drive, they can't go anywhere without a man. They're completely oppressed. There's no sort of human rights for women. A woman gay in those countries isn't coming out anytime soon because they can't support themselves and they risk having their children taken away. So I think globally, there is essentially, and I don't want to use the word war in case it offends somebody, because there are so many countries at literal war, be it civil or otherwise, but there is literally a war in many countries against queer people, where they're trying to erase us from existence. I mean, countries like Russia, for example, they used to say, or Chechnya, and a few years ago, there was a lot of news coming from Chechnya where gay men, or even men they thought were gay, just that moved in a feminine way, they assumed they were gay, which of course is ridiculous. You can't necessarily tell from looking at some of their orientation, were being arrested and tortured, and the government denied it. And originally or initially, the heads of those two places said, well, there's no gay people in our country. And there was, the families would have taken care of it, essentially saying it's okay to kill us or murder us. And those aren't the only countries, but since the Ukrainian Russians attack on Ukraine, which is horrible, Russia has sort of quietly removed any human rights for gay people. It's closed some of its human rights organizations, for example. So there's this quiet, insidious hate going on. And I think there's been a resurgence of homophobia and transphobia. You're in the States, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. What am I to? Yeah. So, yes, there's a lot of states that have passed anti-trans and anti-gay laws. I don't remember the number, but close to 12 states now in the US where medical doctors can refuse to treat a queer person on the grounds that it's against their religion. Okay. So since when did religion trump anything else? So my perspective is I respect people's right to religion, and they can be whatever religion they want, and they can believe that I'm going to hell, and I respect that. So they have a right to believe that, but what they don't have the right to do is deny me my human rights. So queer and transgender and gender nonconforming people have a right to work. They have a right to medical care. They have a right to housing. And so just leave us alone.
Well, it seems like you're an ambassador for this, for this stuff, for letting people come out the closet and stuff like that. It seems like you're a big ambassador, and you're telling people not to be shy. It's okay, and if they have any problems, they can probably contact you, and you probably will get a lot of contacts.
Yes, I've had a lot of contacts, but sometimes it's not okay. I mean, if you're in a country where it's punishable by death, you can't come out of the closet, and many of these people live in fear of being outed. So, here in Toronto or in Canada is considered, as is the US actually, we're considered countries that are supposed to be safe for 2S LGBTQ plus people, and yet there's so many problems, particularly in the US, but we've had our own problems here in Canada for the first time. We used to have, zero almost hate crimes against queer people, and the number since 2018 is slowly climbing. It's not very big, but it's there, and it used to be closer to zero. And certain libraries saying, well, we're not going to carry any books that mention queer people, and not talking about something isn't going to make it go away. And I think all you do like in the US now, I think the majority of states, if a child changes their pronouns, the school has to tell the parents. And that's going to increase the number of suicides, say the experts, in children and teenagers that are transgender, because they have no one to go to now, and maybe their parents will throw them out on the street, and not talking about it or forcing them not to transition isn't going to change who they are. And that's not my opinion. That's sort of expert
Right. That's
opinion.
what everybody's saying all together. So she's just relaying information.
Yeah, the research is very strong that, and most children by the age of 3, they know what gender they are. So you're not going to confuse children if somebody believes that or feels that they were born into the wrong body. You're not going to have hordes of other children suddenly changing their gender. Just like, gay marriage, I don't imagine a zillion straight people are going to start marrying a same-sex partner just because it's legal. So I sort of feel like if you don't believe in gay marriage, don't marry a gay person.
That's if you don't believe in it, then don't do it.
And then don't do it. And we're not hurting anyone. There's not a secret gay agenda. We're not trying to take over the world. We just want the same rights and we ought to be entitled to the same rights. So, queer, sort of transgender, queer, whatever, however you want to call the umbrella term of people, our rights are human rights, and human rights are just that, for all people, not just for people who have the same skin color as you, who worship the way you do, who speak the languages you do, who look the way you do, who have sex the way you do. It's all humans. There doesn't say human rights, doesn't say human rights exclude all these people. It's supposed to be for everyone. And I think it's sad. I think that hate is learned. And I don't think children are born hating. So I guess one message is stop teaching your children to hate. Okay. How about teaching children that people are different and diversity makes life interesting instead of being afraid of it.
So. That's right. So are there any shout outs that you want to give to your people, Jo? Anyway.
Shout outs to my people. Well, I'd like to shout out to Ray Books Publishing, which is for seeing something in my writing. They are an all-female publishing company, and they publish books written by women. So I want to give a shout out to them, and I want to shout out to my amazing adult children and those who have loved me on both sides of the closet door. I feel I'm closer to them all because they know me. They know all of me, and they still love me. And of course, I'd like to shout out to my beautiful wife, whose courage is inspirational. She is native from North Africa, from a country where being gay used to be punishable by death. So it's not been an easy road for her. And many of her family members are not even aware of her sexual orientation. So it's hard. Everybody's journey is different, and it's hard. But I want to shout out to her because she inspires me every day. She also makes me laugh. You had a little blurb about so laughing. Although, due respect to your expert, I don't know how much I laugh. I'm never going to get abs.
Are you not going to get 15 minutes in?
Even if I did, I don't think it's going to make my abs suddenly appear.
Well, no, but yeah, you can't stop going to the gym.
All right.
It's an addition because I guess when you laugh, your stomach shakes, so.
I get it. I get it.
All right. Anyway. Well, Jo, it's been a pleasure you telling us about your journey, and the journey continues on. And, we could inspire people to buy the book, and stuff. How much is the book if you have to get the book?
My publisher will come. I don't know. It's
okay.
22 or something. I don't know. It is available on Amazon or any of the major bookstores, or you can get it through the publisher.
Okay.
I'm happy to have people email me. My email is jo.deluzio@gmail.com. So I'm happy to
All right.
hate me, love
And
me.
yeah, and they can follow you on your social media. Do you have a
I have
website?
no social media.
Oh my God.
I know, right? I'm in my
Okay.
late 60s, but lots of people my age or older have social media. Yeah, I don't jog or vlog or twerk or tweet or any of that
Okay.
stuff. But
So people could just
I should get some social media going.
at
Anyway.
least one thing,
Yeah, you're right.
or
Thank you.
just a website or something.
I think even Facebook or Instagram would be a good
Yeah.
idea. If
That's
the book
that's
is managing to sell well without it, imagine the power of being available on social media. So thank you.
yes. Okay. Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure. If you're writing anything else, or something else comes out, which you say you're having something else come out later, don't be a stranger. We want to see it come back on
I
and
won't.
see
Thank
what's
you
going.
so much for having me.
All right. Well, I do
All right.
want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Real Life Matters here with Joel Deluzio. Surviving the Closet. It's a memoir. I encourage people, if they want to go get it. This is where we are, so you could read the stories and you could possibly relate yourself maybe in that. And you could just either email Joe. She's available for you. So, there for you, and she'll answer you back. I'm not saying right away, but, just give it a couple days and she'll get. All right. So thank you, everybody. Good night and bye for now.
Yeah.